Hi BookTube, it's Rivy or Rivy Writer. I'm back again with another video. I did my BookTube newbie tag a little while ago. Excited to be back. I have been overwhelmed by the responses. I want to cry because the internet is a terrible and mean place, and every single comment I got was just like, welcome to BookTube, we love you, we wanted you to be here. And I'm like, my love, my heart, I'm so happy. And it makes me really happy, and I'm really grateful for that. Please ignore the people passing in the background. I need the natural light, so I'm gonna hopefully crop out anyone who's passing by. This is my latest. I'm drinking some water today. I know last time I was drinking mint lemonade, but this is a cup that my mom got me in New York, and it got books all over it, so and this is just water. But oh my god, I really need to fix this. That's gonna be better, maybe. Who knows? We're gonna try. So today is going to be my reading wrap up for the summer. Because I just started on BookTube, I wanted to summarize my whole summer, so June, July, August. And then, as I mentioned in my BookTube newbie tag, I traveled with my family to London and to Oxfordshire. And so that's where I was for part of the summer. About what books I've read. Some of them I have in copies here. Some of them are audiobooks. And some of them I either, I checked out from the library or on Kindle. So I will put the pictures wherever I can find them so you can see what the covers are, and I'll link them down below. But for now, I will show you which books I have because I'm still building my shelf. I live in a sort of small space, so I only have one bookshelf right now. That's a pretty small one. So I'm building my bookshelf. I'll do a bookshelf tour once I can get more books to show, because right now it's just basically, my 20 or 30 most popular books or the books that I got on sale. I have two sections. We got nonfiction books and then fiction books. In the order other than that, they're separated into nonfiction and fiction. And then I will also mention which books I have and which books I did on Audible and which format. So the first one that I read / listened to was This Is Me by Chrissy Metz. She is one of the stars of the series This Is Us. She is a plus size, a woman of size. Really good advice for women, for people who want to pursue their dreams. It's a really cute, quirky book. I liked it a lot. I think I gave it 4 stars. It got kind of not repetitive, but towards the end I was like, okay, cool. I got the gist of it. I don't know what else I need to know about her life. I watched This Is Us season 1, and I didn't pursue it past season 1. I really liked it though. It's a thoroughly enjoyable book. It was really cute. It had really good advice, life advice, really good stories and anecdotes. Kind of both read and listened to it. For the first probably quarter of the book, I had a physical hard copy that I borrowed from my mom, and that book is at my parents' house, so I can't show it to you. But I read it in physical form, and then we were traveling for the summer, so I switched it to audio because I got the Audible version of the book, and it's narrated by her, so that's also a nice little touch that they have sometimes. So next one, let's go, would be also Audible. So for The Road to Jonestown, this is about the Jim Jones and the People's Temple. You may know it as the cult that drank the Kool-Aid, quote unquote. It was actually Flavor Aid, fun fact, but no one cares. It's the whole idea is they committed this mass suicide together, and literally I finished the book and I still don't know why they did it. I don't know if we're supposed to know why they did it. I had this idea that it was oh, they were going to be found out, or there's some secret, or there's some big philosophical reason why they all committed suicide, but it seems like it was just a cult. It seems like it was just Jim Jones ordered them all to do it, and then they did it. It wasn't, and that's why Flavor Aid, that was spiked with cyanide, so they all died. It was a very bizarre story. I listened to it on Audible. It was really long. I wasn't a huge fan of it. I think I gave it 3 stars. I might, if the Goodreads system had half stars, I'd probably give it 3.5 stars, because it was interesting. It was an interesting story. It went all the way back to basically when he was born and how he grew up and how he formed his temple, and it's an interesting story, I guess. It's long. if you're interested in true crime, get. And it was good. He's a good writer. It's a good story. It's, you know, well researched. But again, it was just kind of, I wasn't. The next one is called The Way of Tea and Justice. This was a book I got on sale at Book Outlet, I believe. It was really cheap and it was like $2. So I was like, okay, might as well. I really like tea. I really like justice. I actually originally got it for my sister because she's really into tea even more than I am. I'm not that into tea. I'm just like, drink it. And she's also really into social justice-y things and all of that. So I got it for her, but then I was like, I'm gonna read it first. And I really liked, I think if I had read just the first half, I would have given it 5 stars. It was really well done in terms of describing how tea has kind of a muddied history and human trafficking, and also the beauty that comes in tea and the lessons we can learn from drinking a cup of tea. And then the second half of the book was just very much about Jesus. I understand that the author is a reverend and she started this cafe, but the second half of the book was just very much about the specific cafe, the specific nonprofit she was starting, and there was just a lot of talk of Jesus. I'm Jewish. I don't really know most of the references she was making. Maybe if it was something I was more knowledgeable about or I was more invested in, maybe I would be a fan of reading about how Jesus. So again, I really like the idea. I would definitely recommend the book to anyone who likes tea and or justice, especially this one specifically works on women who have been trafficked and into disadvantaged and have been into really hard situations, and gives them a job serving tea at this little cafe that they've been open. Look, it was really good, and it definitely got me thinking about tea. Every time I read the book, I wanted to make myself a nice cup of tea. The next book I read was Bad Blood, and this was the true story of Beth Holmes. So she started this company in Silicon Valley, and it was supposed to revolutionize healthcare. Just in one drop of blood, you're supposed to be able to tell all these different things. The whole thing was it was only one drop of blood. And the way I understand it, I don't think it was a total scam. I think she did start the company believing that it would be possible, but she would not listen to anyone else. She would not listen to her, the scientists, the data people, like everyone who was telling her, who had more knowledge about specific areas. She led people on to believe that the technology worked. I think there's an HBO documentary about it that I want to watch, because after I read the book, I was like, I should watch the documentary. It'll be good. So yeah, that's one. So that one was good. I think I'd give that 4 stars. I'd probably give it 4.5 stars. I liked it. I'd probably like it. One of the better book is, this one's called Tribe of Homecoming and Belonging. It's by Sebastian Junger. Or Junger. Okay. Anyway, it was recommended to me because I listened to a podcast called It Could Happen Here with Robert Evans, and it is, which talks about the potential for a second American Civil War. Basically the book is about how we as a society, in Western society, have increased rates of depression and anxiety, and it is linked to our lack of community and our lack of tribal connection. And I thought it was really interesting. I resonated with a lot of what he said, and that it's just the psychological survival. I'm looking through the book because I know I highlighted a lot in here. Can't really see it because it's kind of faded now. But I was just such a fan of this book. It really resonated with me, and I thought it was a really good book. It's kind of short, only 160 pages or so. So it was a fair enough quick read. It wasn't, I don't know if it was meant for a fun read, but I enjoyed it, so I liked it. Cool. Next, 4 fiction books. Okay. Let's start with The Girl Who Lived. That was an Audible book, and I got that one on a sale. I got it on a Audible Daily Deal sale. There required a pretty large suspension of disbelief for the book. There are a lot of just plot lines that, although they were intriguing and really just well thought out, it was like, this is just not realistic. This is not how this is gonna happen. A lot of it, but I did read it. I was very engrossed in it while I was reading it. I don't know if I'd recommend it. I think I'd give it 3 stars, and I think it was probably a solid 3-star read. Yeah. Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, which I've been reading forever, or audiobook. I did that one on audiobook as well. Oh geez. So this is my first time reading the Harry Potter book, so no spoilers, no spoilers. I also won't give any spoilers, but I did cry. I did cry at the end. So that was definitely a great book. I really enjoyed reading the Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. That is book 5. I have not seen the movies either, so I really don't know what's gonna happen. Next one let's talk about will be 13 Minutes. This is probably, I think this is the most recent book I finished, but I'm going to talk about it because I wasn't a huge fan of this one. I think I'd give it 2.5 stars. It was, I don't know. It was one of those books that it was like, it just left a bad taste in my mouth. And I think it was because I didn't necessarily like any of the characters, even though the main character's name is Becca and my full name is Rebecca. If I really cared about the characters, and I think that's my problem with both 13 Minutes and The Girl Who Lived, was I didn't really care about the protagonists, or the other characters in the book. I wish I did. I think that's my biggest problem with a lot of suspense books, is I don't actually really care about the main characters, and I don't like them. So I just didn't like it. I just wasn't a fan. I don't know. I wasn't a fan. It was a crime story. I listened to it and I read it, and it was enjoyable / engrossing, but again, when I finished it, it definitely left a bad taste in my mouth, and I was just like, makes me glad I'm not in high school with these weirdos. Okay, the next book is Illuminae. So I started tabbing this one because once I started on BookTube, there are a lot of people who talk about annotating their books, but after a while, I just kind of stopped. I switched off this one again. I switched this one off between reading and Audible. So this one is very uniquely made, where it's basically like the whole book is this really creative kind of writing style, where it's a compilation of different chat logs and, and different things. I really liked it. I'll definitely pick up the next book in the series, which I know is out now. I want to do Audible. I like the Audible. It's a full cast, but I would also kind of read either, not necessarily like read as I was doing Audible, but I would do Audible for like 20 minutes and then read like 20 pages and, kind of switch off so I got the full experience. But if that's too much for you, one or the other also just totally works. Final book. I love this book. This one's called All the Bright Places. Again, I also have the tab started and then didn't follow through. I love this book. This one is Jennifer Niven. I did make the mistake a little bit of reading some of the reviews, and then I was like, oh, do I not love this book as much as I thought I loved this book? But no, I love this book. It's a good book. Fun book. It's kind of sad. It made me cry. I loved it. It was a really nice book. It reminded me why I love YA so much, why I love YA romance. Yeah, I liked it. It was really sweet. It was really beautiful. I resonated with a lot of the things that they were dealing with, because I also have depression and anxiety and a lot of these similar issues, and I definitely felt a lot of that kind of stuff in high school. So I resonated. It was heartbreaking. It was beautiful, and I would recommend it. So yeah, so this was a beautiful, very sweet book. A lot of time, trigger warning for mental illness, suicide, all of those kinds of topics that if they're difficult for you, or if you are already dealing with them, you don't want to read them in fiction. I totally get that. So, maybe hold off. I was not personally triggered by this book, but then again, I haven't had suicidal ideation for about 10 years now. Whoa, not 10 years, probably like 7 years. So it's a big thing. It's definitely a dark book, but it's beautiful and I loved it. All right, thanks so much for watching my video. Like and subscribe. I'm like so happy I'm here. I'm so happy to be in this community. It is wonderful and beautiful, and yeah, love to all. Bye.